The former American President Donald Trump's trial saga is, of course, back in the news. And in the latest, the Republican leader has said that he will not plead guilty to the criminal charges in a revised indictment that has accused him of attempting to overturn his 2020 electoral defeat. In a filing with the U.S. District Court in Washington, Trump waived his right to appear in court and instead authorized his lawyers to enter the plea. The last week, special counsel Jack Smith filed a new indictment on the 4 charges that the former president had tried to subvert the results of the election that he'd lost to Democrat Joe Biden. Now, soon after the revised charges came down, Donald Trump, in his signature style, addressed the allegations against him during a recent media interview. The Red Camp presidential nominee said that he had every right to interfere with the results of the 2020 presidential elections. Now, Trump has been accused of attempting to defraud the United States, obstruct the congressional certification of the election, and to deprive voters of their right to a fair vote. The Republican White House candidate Donald Trump was scheduled to go on trial on the 4th of March, but that, of course, was put on hold while his lawyers have pushed his claim of presidential immunity to the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, a federal judge has ordered the Trump campaign to stop playing music created by Isaac Hayes. Following the ruling on Tuesday, Isaac Hayes III, the son of late American musician Isaac Hayes, has said that he knows his father would not want Donald Trump playing his music. Now, several artists or their representatives have objected to their music being played at Donald Trump's events over the years.
My father was a father to 7 daughters. I have 7 sisters. Donald Trump has been found liable of sexual abuse. I know my father would not want that man playing his music. Man has been found liable of sexual abuse, and some of the things that he says about women, especially black women and women of color, especially in this election.
All right, now to help us make sense of what is happening at this moment in American politics, we're being joined by Mr. Leslie Munson, who's joining us from Washington, D.C. Mr. Munson is a senior fellow at the National Security Institute. Mr. Munson, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. Let me in fact start off by asking you about these new polls that have come out, which are saying that Kamala Harris seems to have a slight advantage in those key battle states in the United States of America, which could, in many ways, dictate the way the presidential elections will go. What is your take on that?
Well, it's not totally unexpected. She's had good polling numbers for the last month or so. She had a very good convention. Her rollout of her candidacy after Joe Biden withdrew was very successful. I think the problem for Harris is that her lead is not very large. It's 1 or 2 points, sometimes 3 points, depending on the poll and kind of the way you do the averages and things like that. And in some of these key swing states like Michigan and Pennsylvania, she's either tied with Trump or perhaps even a little bit behind. So her position is not as strong as it appears. And let's remember, Donald Trump tends to poll lower than he actually does in elections. This has been the trend over the last 8 or 9 years. So this still, I think, despite Harris's numbers, is actually a very close race right now.
And also the choice of Tim Walz as the vice presidential running mate. Do you think that is actually helping Kamala Harris in these crucial swing states in America?
I don't think it is, actually. It's easy to overstate the importance of a vice presidential pick, and at the end of the day, it may not matter who she picks. But she had an opportunity to select the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, who is a very well-regarded politician, very able, speaks well, does quite well in Pennsylvania, including with moderate voters. I think his selection may have been a better one, particularly given the huge importance Pennsylvania is going to play in this election.
And also talking a bit about Donald Trump. He's, of course, not starting with a clean slate. He's got this case where he tried to subvert the 2020 elections. How do you think this is playing on the minds of the Americans? The Democrats are saying that, listen, this is a fight for democracy. This is about freedom and to ensure that American democracy still goes on to exist. Now, Donald Trump has said that he had every right to interfere in the election results of 2020. How do you think that perception goes and plays in the minds of an average American voter?
Well, I think if that voter is inclined to vote for Trump, they don't really care. And if they're inclined to vote against Trump, I think they are appalled by that kind of language. And it's not defensible. It's not a defensible thing to say. But the reason Trump is saying that is to show his supporters that he is willing to challenge the system and be a different kind of candidate. This is oddly the kind of thing that energizes his base, I think, and that's why he continues to say provocative things like this. He did try to undermine the election in 2020. He utterly failed to do so. It's we should point out, in the American system, held quite well up against his attempted interference. His implying that he's going to do it again in 2024 is his way of never having to apologize and show his voters that he's going to be a different kind of candidate.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Munson, for joining us and getting us that perspective then.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.